Kriber's division forms square and under a scorching sun holds the enemy at bay for 10 hours. But they are running low on ammunition and desperate for...
God damn, 10 hours? Debating reacts to Napoleon in Egypt. Let's get in it.
February 1799. French General Napoleon Bonaparte has conquered Egypt. But his grip on the country is threatened by revolt, and the British have destroyed his fleet, cutting him off from reinforcements. Now the Sultan has vowed to crush the foreign invader, and 2 large Ottoman armies are being assembled to reclaim Egypt.
Okay, so someone in my last video commented and said that Egypt was a part of the Ottoman Empire, but it was formerly under British control, de facto British controlled. So why would the Ottoman, right? Why would the Ottoman Sultan want to, why would he be angry that Napoleon took it if Egypt wasn't really like under Ottoman control? Like, can someone explain that to me?
But Napoleon will not sit and wait for them quietly. He has decided to strike first. The forces gathering in Syria, rumored to be 50,000 strong, pose the greatest threat. So they will be his first target. On the 10th of February, Napoleon leads a force of just 13,000 men into the Sinai Desert, bound for the Holy Land. It's all the men he can spare, with so many needed to hold down Egypt.
Yeah, man, I was thinking, like, dude, like, you're holding an entire province of a country, technically a state, you could call it, man. Like, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be very, very interesting because Napoleon is very limited here.
Nevertheless, it's a highly motivated, experienced and well-led force, organized into 4 infantry divisions and a cavalry brigade, commanded by Murat. For Napoleon, speed and surprise are imperative, but things start to go wrong very quickly. The French are again poorly prepared for the harsh conditions and heat of the desert.
Come on, man. How do you not learn from the first time? Come on.
Water is scarce. Food runs short. At El Arish, they unexpectedly find the town garrisoned by 3,000 Ottoman soldiers. The siege holds Napoleon up for 11 days and costs 400 casualties, both of which he can ill afford.
Yeah, bro, this is honestly worse than Napoleon in Italy. Like, you know, if you haven't checked out my reaction, go check out my Napoleon Italy reaction. But when Napoleon was in Italy, bro, he had much more better conditions than this. Oh, I don't think this is gonna end well, to be honest. I don't see how this can end well.
The garrison's surrender is secured only with generous terms. They are disarmed, but allowed to leave after swearing an oath not to take up arms against the French for a year. The French army continues into Palestine. Its fertile plains and fruit trees a relief after the desert. On the 24th of February, the French occupy Gaza, where they're delighted to find large stores of food and ammunition abandoned by the Ottomans. Napoleon's next objective is the port city of Jaffa, held by 5,000 Ottoman soldiers. His field guns blast away at its stone walls, until finally a breach is made. But when Napoleon sends a messenger to invite surrender, to spare both sides the horrors of an assault, the Ottomans cut off his head.
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. From the moment he said that a messenger was sent, I was like, yep, his head is gonna get cut off. Bro, how many times has this happened throughout history? Come on, bro. Oh my gosh.
And display it from the city walls.
Nah. Nah. Disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. I've seen a lot of disrespectful moments throughout history. Like my Belisarius reaction that I did. Check it out if you want to, but holy crap. But this is worse.
Enraged French soldiers storm the breach and overwhelm the defenders. Then they flood into the city, embarking on a killing spree that lasts 24 hours.
Golly! I mean, I would be enraged too, bro. Yeah, bro, no Geneva Convention here, even though that wasn't a thing yet, but still, I could only imagine how freaking brutal that was.
The sights were terrible, wrote one French witness. The sound of shots, the shrieks of women and fathers, piles of bodies, the smell of blood, the shouts of victors quarreling about loot. The butchery is indiscriminate. Women and children are slaughtered alongside 2,000 Ottoman soldiers. The next day, order is gradually restored. But more horrors are to come.
What? That is crazy, bro. Yo, the situation in Egypt isn't looking too hot right now. I mean, granted, they can live off the land, sort of, and live off the cities that they capture, I guess, but the casualties, bro, the casualties is really bad. If they had a way to, like, recruit soldiers, it wouldn't be, like, too bad, but, that's crazy.
In the aftermath of the sack of Jaffa, Napoleon finds himself with 3,000 Ottoman prisoners, who have been promised their lives. But with his troops and supplies already stretched thin, he is reluctant to spare any to guard or feed these unwanted captives. Besides, some are from the garrison of El Arish and have broken their oath not to take up arms against the French. And they beheaded his messenger. After conferring with his officers, Napoleon gives the order to execute the prisoners.
Hey, bro. Honestly, yeah, right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, cause they'll just go and betray him anyways. Like I completely agree. Like I'm sorry. Like he said before, somewhere from the garrison that literally said that they won't freaking raise their guns against the French for a year. Like, come on, just rid of them, honestly.
3 days, the French lead the prisoners in batches to the beach and slaughter them. Some are shot, some are simply driven into the sea, and by the 3rd day, French troops are ordered to use bayonets to save their ammunition. It is an atrocity that...
Oh, that is awful. Oh, dude, that is so awful.
Napoleon will defend for the rest of his life. I had no choice, he insists, many years later. But the massacres provide easy propaganda for his enemies. While if the intention was to terrify his enemies, it seems only to have encouraged them to fight harder. As if by divine judgment, with...
That is a hilarious propaganda poster with Napoleon, like, with the thing looking like this. That is hilarious.
Within days, hundreds of French soldiers fall sick with bubonic plague. Napoleon shows considerable bravery, visiting the sick in hospital, an act later celebrated by his own propaganda machine. Napoleon now heads towards his main objective, Acre. The ancient port city, famed for its role in the Crusades, is now the seat of the local Ottoman governor. He is Ahmed Pasha al-Jazar, known as the Butcher. For 25 years he has ruled Syria with an iron fist and is notorious for his imaginative tortures and executions. He has ignored Napoleon's invitation to surrender, and what's more, unknown to Napoleon, 2 British ships of the line have arrived to support him. Napoleon arrives at Mount Carmel.
That is not good. Also, how is there a French ship there? I thought the fleet was destroyed. What? How is there a French ship? Interesting.
12 miles south of Acre, just in time to see the British capture a coastal convoy carrying his vital siege guns. Their loss is a massive blow to his hopes for a quick...
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, like, how was there even, like, any ship after that, right? Like, I'm impressed that the French even had ships at that point after Lord Nelson completely decimated their fleet.
Siege. On the 18th of March, the French arrive outside Acre's walls and start to dig in. Without their siege guns, the city's defences are a major challenge. Acre bristles with 250 guns, is surrounded on 3 sides by the sea, and on the other by walls that are 8 feet thick. The British control the sea, ensuring easy resupply, and have landed Marines, naval gun crews, and now Napoleon's own siege guns to bolster the defences.
Nah. Disrespectful. Nah, this is gonna be crazy though. This is gonna be crazy. I think this is gonna be Napoleon's hardest challenge. This is gonna be even worse than what we saw at Mantua. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. But I think this is gonna be crazy.
The British commander, Commodore Sir Sidney Smith, is energetic and full of ideas, while a French émigré, Antoine de Philippot, a former classmate of Napoleon's, provides expert siege advice. 10 days after their arrival, the French bombardment begins. Napoleon's field...
Hold on a minute. Why is Napoleon's former classmate on the British side? Did he get captured or something? Why? Someone explain that to me. Like, I didn't even like clock that just now. Like, what, is he helping the British? Like, why is he helping them?
Guns smash a small breach in the walls, but are then overwhelmed by counter-fire. 40 gunners are killed, and all but 3 guns disabled. Napoleon sends in his infantry with scaling ladders. A hidden moat breaks up their assault, while defenders blast them with muskets and hurl down rocks. The French
Rocks is crazy.
hurriedly fall back in disorder. Any man left behind is likely to be decapitated. The Butcher has offered a reward for every French head he has brought. The French then repel an Ottoman.
It's nah. Okay, nah, that is the crazy. I know I've been saying this, but now this is the craziest thing that I've heard so far. What? Oh my goodness, bro. Imagine like being so hyped up to like decapitate people's. Oh my gosh, that is so surreal, bro.
Ottoman sortie, inflicting heavy losses. The siege of Acre enters a stalemate. Napoleon will wait for heavier guns to arrive from Alexandria before he risks another assault.
The Ottomans, though, what are the Ottomans doing? Like the in the last reaction that I did to Napoleon in Egypt, he said that the Ottoman was mobilizing, right? Like, what are they doing? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm getting very concerned for that fact. Like, that's like at the back of my mind, because like any moment, can't they like show up and just completely like roll over like Napoleon?
But then, alarming news arrives to disrupt this plan. The Ottoman army gathering to the north, 40,000 strong, is on the move.
Okay, never mind. I guess that answers my question. Okay, this is gonna be very interesting.
Napoleon can spare just 4,000 men to face them. The odds seem insane, but Napoleon trusts in the training and experience of his troops, and particularly the quality of his officers. Unsure of the enemy's...
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't. What? What? 4,000? That is literally 10 times more. Even if they are good, bro. Like, oh, okay. I don't know. Hannibal defeated an army bigger than him. I don't know, but still, he had quite a sizable amount of troops. If Napoleon had like 10,000 troops, I would be more comfortable. But 4,000 versus 40,000, what? Oh, okay, this is gonna be a very interesting episode.
His line of advance, he divides his force. On the 8th of April, at Nazareth, Junot locates and scatters an enemy cavalry force 10 times his number. 3 days later, Kleber defeats 5,000 at Cana, while Murat surprises another force north of Lake Galilee. On the 15th, General Kleber receives word that the main enemy force has swung round to the south and is camped near Mount Hamoure, 8 miles from Mount Tabor. Seeking glory, Kleber advances with just his own division, intending to surprise the enemy at dawn.
Oh my goodness. Oh, bro, if he pulls this off, if he actually pulls this off, bro.
But he misjudges the march. When the sun rises, he's exposed on open ground, his 1,500 men facing 35,000. Kleber's division forms square, and under a scorching sun holds the enemy at bay for 10 hours. But they are running low on ammunition and desperate for...
God damn, 10 hours? 10 hours is crazy.
Reinforcements. Napoleon, meanwhile, is racing towards them with 2,500 men. He arrives just in time, attacking the Ottoman army from behind, taking them completely by surprise. Most of their forces are a peasant militia, and seized by panic, they flee in all directions. Kleber joins the attack. The Ottoman army disintegrates.
Bro. Oh I think this is the most legendary battle aside from Hannibal, the battle of K9, bro. No freaking way. Easily top 10 most legendary historical battles that I've seen, bro. Hands down, no questions asked. Holy crap. I am so mesmerized. Is that the word? Flabbergasted? I don't even know. Someone give me a word to like describe how I feel right now. I'm just shocked, I guess. I don't know. Now I need a bigger word to like describe how I'm feeling right now. That is so crazy.
At a cost of fewer than 300 casualties, Napoleon has destroyed the enemy relief force and secured control of Palestine. The fall of Acre must now surely follow. But at Acre, the city...
Like I said in my previous video, Saint Dumas, or is it Thomas? But Marshal Dumas, because someone in my comments told me that he was Marshal Dumas. Yeah, I said this in my last video about him, but Marshal Dumas, he he thought the same thing as well. Like he thought that the Directory sent freaking Napoleon into Egypt just to freaking like get rid of him.
Situation is deteriorating for the French. Without control of the sea, they can do nothing to prevent supplies and reinforcements entering the city. While their own ammunition stocks are so low, men are sent to find spent cannonballs to fire back at the city. Most alarmingly, plague breaks out in the French camp, with around 20 new cases every day. Then, suddenly, a chance to end the siege. On the 24th of April, the French explode a mine under one of Acre's towers, causing serious damage. Napoleon orders an immediate assault. Hundreds of grenadiers charge forward. But once more, they come under torrential fire and have to fall back.
Ooh.
The clock is ticking for Napoleon. Surely it won't be long before the Ottoman army assembled at Rhodes makes its move. And he fears having to recross the Sinai Desert in high summer, when the heat will be lethal. Finally, on the 7th of May, Napoleon's replacement siege artillery arrives. Not wasting a moment, the French heavy guns open fire next morning. Large sections of the city's crumbling walls are brought down. French troops attack at multiple points. Some fight their way into the city. But counterattacks by British Marines and Turkish troops throw them back. General Lannes is
The British coming in clutch.
wounded in the neck and has to be dragged to safety, narrowly escaping the Pasha's head choppers. On the 10th of May, Napoleon calls on Kleber's grenadiers to make a final attempt on the city. Nothing could be more beautiful than Kleber on the day of battle, remarks Napoleon, as the general leads his division forward with unflinching courage. General Bon advances with his troops in support. He is mortally wounded in the fighting. For all the French heroism and courage on display, the firepower, ferocity and skill of their enemy proves insurmountable. Napoleon, observing the attack from a forward battery, is knocked off his feet by a near miss.
Damn. I know they were aiming for him. Definitely were purposely trying to aim for him. There's no way that was a coincidence, fam.
Finally, he accepts his men have done all that can be asked. The attempt to take Acre has failed.
Ooh, damn. Yeah, bro. I figured this was gonna end in defeat. There's still 14 minutes left of this video, though. So let's see what happens.
Acre is Napoleon's first major military defeat. The 4-month campaign will cost him 4,500 casualties, more than a third of his army's fighting strength. Nevertheless, Napoleon has succeeded in his main objective, neutralizing the threat from Syria. On the 20th of May, his army begins the 300-mile march back to Egypt. En route at Jaffa, Napoleon orders that around 50 of his men, riddled with plague and unable to march, be put out of their suffering with an overdose of laudanum. They are mercy killings. The victims would have suffered worse at the hands of the enemy.
Yeah, honestly. Oof. Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna end terrible, isn't it? Oh, let's see what happens.
But the decision is still controversial. The French retreat continues into the desert. The heat is overpowering, and water in short supply. Morale is at rock bottom. Finally, after 25 days of marching, the army reaches Cairo on the 14th of June. Their return is marked by triumphal parades and celebrations across the city, organized by Napoleon.
Hey, look. He did defeat an army that was like way bigger than his size, alright? Even if he did like lose the Battle of Acre, okay, he still had a victory. Okay, so because if he did defeat that army that was bigger than him, I'm pretty sure he would be like scrambling to like abandon Egypt in general, right? So I get it. Like, the Ottomans can't really do Napoleon anything right now. The best they can do is just defend right now until this army right here, gets into action. But Napoleon's in a very interesting spot right now.
He is determined that his campaign be seen as a stunning success in Cairo and in France. The men have just a few weeks to rest. On the 15th of July, news arrives that the long-awaited Ottoman invasion has begun at Abu Qir.
Now Napoleon is on the defense. We've seen Napoleon on the offense a lot. But how good is he like when he's like actually like defending, like for real like defending? This is gonna be very, very interesting.
There is no time to lose. Napoleon must hit the enemy immediately before he can break out into the Nile Delta. With most of the Cairo garrison,
everybody knows when epic history plays its music, that's when it's about to get real.
Murat's cavalry and Kleber's division, 10,000 men in all, he races towards Abu Qir. The experienced Ottoman commander, Said Mustafa Pasha, has 9,000 men entrenched in 2 defensive lines guarding the fortress of Abu Qir. His plan is to force the French to attack his strong defenses. Napoleon is thrilled to learn this. The enemy has nowhere to run. At dawn on the 25th of July, he orders an all-out attack. The first Ottoman defensive line had not been completed and is overrun in minutes. French cavalry sweep around to cut off the Ottoman right flank. Hemmed in against the sea, the defenders panic and flee into the water, hoping to reach the ships offshore. Thousands drown. With D'Estaing's division advancing on the
Damn, bro, that is crazy, bro. Bro, Napoleon is still steamrolling, bro.
left, Lannes in the centre, and Murat's cavalry on the right, the French now advance against the second Ottoman line. Anchored by several redoubts, it resists the first assault. But when the French fall back, over-eager Turkish soldiers leave their entrenchments to pursue them. Murat seizes the moment and charges forward with his cavalry. The second line is overrun. Murat pushes on to the Ottoman camp. And despite a gunshot wound to the face, captures Mustafa Pasha at the point of his sword.
Okay, Giga Chad Murat. Oh, that's why I like Murat, bro. I think Murat's probably my favorite marshal. I don't know all the marshals yet, so I can't come to that conclusion. But I have heard of Murat before.
By 1 p.m., the Turkish army has ceased to exist. Just 5,000 survivors remain, holed up in the fortress. They surrender 8 days later, on the 2nd of August. 1 year to the day after the destruction of Napoleon's fleet. The Battle of Aboukir is a great victory for Napoleon and does much to repair his reputation after defeat at Acre. But news now reaches him of developments in Europe, and for France, the news is not good. A new second coalition has been formed against France, led by Britain, Russia, and Austria. Their armies have won a series of battles against the French, reversing almost all Napoleon's gains in Italy, and now threaten the Republic with invasion. It is no time for France's best general to be far from home, unable to influence events. La Patrie is in danger. Napoleon's next move is not in doubt. On the evening of the 23rd of August, Napoleon quietly boards a frigate near Alexandria, with a small entourage, including Berthier, Marmont, Lannes and Murat, and sails for France. To his army, he leaves only a short proclamation. The news from Europe had determined me to proceed to France. I leave the command of the army to General Kleber. The army shall hear from me forthwith. At present, I can say no more. It costs me much pain to quit troops to whom I am so strongly attached. General Kleber.
Okay, so he didn't abandon his troops. He actually made a proclamation. Okay.
Is not amused by his sudden promotion. He's deserted us with his breeches full of merde, he declares. When we get back to Europe, we'll rub his face in it. But Kleber will never return to Europe. The following summer, he is stabbed to death in Cairo by a young Muslim radical. The remnants of the French army in Egypt surrender to the British in 1801. following defeat at the Battle of Alexandria. They are later repatriated by the British Navy under the terms of a peace treaty. Napoleon's expedition to Egypt was a costly failure for France. Its aims, which had always been vague and opportunistic, became impossible following the
Yeah, I mean, over ambition. Honestly, it's just over ambition, right? Like, I mean, Napoleon freaking impressed me. Holy crap, man. Like, this was impressive as hell. Even with his loss at Acre, I can't really blame him for that. Because, you know, like, let's say that, I don't know, the British didn't have naval supremacy, right? The British had, like, contested waters, right? Um, I think Acre would have been a lot different. Okay, like Acre was just simply out of his reach. They just had overwhelming advantage. So that's, I can't really, like, it wasn't even like equal. But even when it wasn't equal, right? Freaking like Napoleon still pulled off some stunts, man. I mean, that defeat with that 35,000 army, yo, oh, that is crazy, man. But yeah, this whole Egypt thing, yeah, it just, I just never understood. Even if the British was trading, right? Like, sure, yes, they were trading. It would disrupt the whole empire, right? It it just doesn't make any sense to me, like why they would do that. And this is like what, 1799? I mean, if Napoleon wanted to disrupt the British, in my personal opinion, he should have just invaded the British Caribbean, right? Because at this point, 1799, you had my country, Barbados, you had Jamaica. These two were dominating, producing so much sugar, right? A lot of people don't know that. But Barbados and Jamaica, they were like sugar giants, fam. Okay, they were producing so much money for the British Empire at this point, or should I say the first British Empire, because there was two British empires. The first one was like in the New World, and the second one was India, right? At this point, the Caribbean was still producing loads of sugar. I personally believe that if Napoleon had decided to invade, well, it wasn't really his choice because he wasn't emperor yet. But in my personal opinion, I believe if he, or if the French launched an expedition towards the Caribbean, because the Caribbean was by no means a peaceful playground. No, 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 no. Again, I said in my last reaction video that my mother's country, St. Lucia, swapped hands between the British and the French 13 times. Okay, the Caribbean was a huge naval battleground. It was just a huge battleground in general. In fact, my home city in Barbados, Bridgetown, was literally nicknamed Fortress Bridgetown for that reason, because the British knew how important Barbados was, because Barbados was freaking generating so much money. And when I used to live in Barbados, I used to see like the old forts that, you know, that the British used to have, and that was one of the reasons why like Barbados never swapped hands. You know, that's why Barbados stayed British, you know, up until this very day, because freaking like the British like guarded Barbados like to the core. But still, I believe that an expedition to the Caribbean would have disrupted the British Empire much more, because the Caribbean was still making loads and loads and loads of money. Bridgetown was the third richest colony in the New World, behind Haiti, and I think behind New York. Okay, so I am not saying this because, oh, I'm from there. I'm saying this because that is true. I don't know why much people don't understand that. I see so many people who talk about the British Empire and they're like, oh yeah, the British Empire has so much money, but they don't know where the money came from. The money originally came from all these sugar Caribbean islands. Okay, the Caribbean was vital to the British Empire. Okay, the 13 colonies, yes, but the Caribbean was literally where the money was at. Okay, there's a reason why sugar was called white gold. If you know history, you should probably know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people don't understand that. I just don't understand why they would go and waste a whole bunch of lives in Egypt. I mean, granted, the Caribbean is like much more further away, so, but still, it'd be much more effective, right? It'll be much more effective in my personal opinion, right? To freaking, send troops there. Like, I'm okay. I'm gonna continue because I'm talking long.
Destruction of the French fleet at Abu Qir. And though it has lived long in popular imagination, for every dashing act of heroism or romantic legend, there was a moment of immense brutality and terrible suffering. The expedition did have one positive legacy. Shortly before he left for France, Napoleon was invited to inspect a stone slab that his troops had pulled from the rubble while building a fort near the town of Rosetta. Dating to the 2nd century BC, the slab was inscribed with a royal decree. Uniquely, the same text appeared in Demotic, Ancient Greek, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. The French had to hand it over to the British under the terms of their surrender, which is why the Rosetta Stone now sits in the British Museum. 2 decades after its rediscovery, the stone proved the key to unlocking the lost language of Egyptian hieroglyphs and revolutionizing the study of ancient Egypt. This and other discoveries by the French savants spawned an entirely new discipline, Egyptology.
Is that a slave? That's a slave? Damn. That's crazy, bro.
The study of Egypt's distant past that continues to fascinate and amaze us to this day. Napoleon's voyage across the Mediterranean takes 41 days.
That's crazy though. That's actually cool that he discovered that. Hey, so I mean, it was not a complete failure. They actually like freaking like if the whole point of Egypt was trying to like undercover like stuff from like ancient Egypt, it worked out in some ways, right?
Days, and involves some close shaves with the Royal Navy. But his destiny was not to be thwarted a second time. En route, he makes his last visit to Corsica and the town of his birth, before setting off for France to take the next step in his astonishing rise to power.
Wait. Isn't Napoleon technically Italian? Right? Napoleon is French, but wasn't Corsica like Italian, right? It was an Italian state, right? It was a part of Genoa. Yeah, it was a part of Genoa. So Napoleon's like Genoese, right? Because I know shortly after Genoa sold it to France, Napoleon was born like shortly afterwards, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So wouldn't that technically make him like Italian, right? Not really like French, right? Because I've had people freaking look at me and freaking tell me that, oh, you can't be English. Always like, oh, I've had people look at me and tell me, oh, you're African. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm freaking English. Like I grew up on an English island with English culture. I mean, I can say British culture because they were both Irish and Scottish influence anyhow. But I've had like freaking morons look at me and tell me that, oh, you could never be English because, oh, you're some of my ancestors freaking came from Africa. And it's funny because I'm not even like dark skin. I'm freaking like light skin. Like you can't really like see it because my lighting is terrible. But I will be fixing my lighting eventually, so you'll probably see it in the future on my reaction videos. But yeah, just because like my freaking ancestors had like origins from somewhere, like like assimilation and cultural integration like exists, freaking like Napoleon was technically like Italian by the logic of freaking like those morons, but he grew up in a French culture. He integrated into France and whatnot. In fact, I actually heard of Napoleon when he was a kid. Yeah. But yeah, Technically, he would be Italian though. I mean, I still view him as French, but like, if you're speaking by blood, he's still like Italian, which is weird. Crazy how Italy doesn't like hail him as a hero, but France does. Oh, that's actually really weird when you think about it.
Bias and misinformation are as old as history itself. In this video, we've seen how Napoleon's enemies leapt on his actions at Jaffa to paint him as a murderous fiend, while French artists predictably chose to commemorate.
Oh wait, okay, so that's the end of this video. Okay, yeah, I'm broke. I'm sorry. I'm broke. I really have to set up like a Patreon or something because I'm like really broke. But thank you for watching the video. Make sure to check out these other videos. If you are new to this and you haven't seen my other Napoleon reactions, make sure you check those out because I am reacting to the Napoleonic Wars in chronological order. So stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy my other video.